The city is entirely made of machinery. When danger arrives, the buildings along the streets begin to shrink and fold. As countless buildings are retracted, engines roar to life, spewing black smoke. All the buildings start to move. It turns out that the giant London city has begun its daily hunt. The once tightly clustered towns each begin their escape routes, but one town's engine fails to start. Just as London city draws near, the engine finally starts, and its massive jaws open wide. The town's mayor jerks the steering wheel, managing to turn around just before being crushed by the enormous gears. This moment makes the huge difference between the two clear. The town runs like an ant on the ground, while the residents of London city excitedly watch and cheer. After receiving the command, the drivers push their engines to the limit to catch up. The town passes beneath a wheel, leaving behind a massive imprint. Even though many parts fall off, the mayor orders all food supplies to be cleared without hesitation, but despite their efforts, they can't shake off the giant London city. At this moment, the mayor spots a huge merchant, but their path is blocked by a massive chasm. Luckily, he notices in time and jerks the wheel, avoiding the risk of the entire town falling off the cliff. However, this gives London city's ruler the chance to fire a harpoon with chains, hitting the town. London city opens its blood-red jaws, and no matter how much the town struggles, it's helpless. With mechanical arms reaching into the ground, the town is slowly dragged inside, and the doors close behind them, sealing any chance of escape. A broadcast rings out in London city, directing everyone to leave the town. Useful items are manually picked out, while useless items are grabbed by mechanical arms and tossed into a furnace to power London city. At this point, the city's ruler begins explaining the rules of the city. A girl suddenly pulls out a knife and approaches the male lead, saying, "This is for my mother." She is pushed away, but tries to strike again, only to be blocked by the male lead. It's clear that they know each other. The male lead is knocked to the ground, and when the girl sees the guards closing in, she quickly runs away. The male lead decides to pursue her in order to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, the town is being shredded by a massive cutting machine. The girl dodges the attacks with agile movements, while the male lead pursues her relentlessly. The deeper they go, the greater the danger to the town. Just as the girl runs out of the disassembly room, she slams the door shut behind her. With the crushing machine rapidly approaching, the male lead crashes into the door, only to find the building behind it already dismantled. The girl runs further ahead, but the male lead turns a corner and sees passengers taking an elevator downstairs. The exit is blocked, and he has no choice but to run deeper, eventually discovering that it leads to the city's back gate, the trash disposal area. In order to avoid capture, the girl immediately lets go and jumps. In the next moment, the male lead grabs her. She reveals the truth: she is the city ruler's daughter, but her mother was killed by the ruler himself. The scar on her face was also left by him. After saying this, the girl breaks free and falls. When the ruler arrives, the male lead asks about the girl's mother. The ruler kicks him off the guardrail and pushes him down. When the male lead wakes up, he finds himself near a giant chain mark. They decide to retrace their steps. As night falls, a flash of light appears. They think they're saved, but the caravan shoots out fishing harpoons. They realize too late that it's a trade caravan, used to capture people for slavery. Just as they near the top of a hill, the girl is shot in the leg by rebar. The male lead nearly gets run over by the wheels but falls into a hole instead. It turns out it's a small motorcycle driven by an elderly couple. The old woman warmly welcomes them and arranges a room for them to sleep. However, when the door opens again, several burly men enter. They are taken to the slave market by the elderly couple, ready to be auctioned. Outside a sea prison, there's a very special cell. This cell is made of super titanium alloy, containing the world's most terrifying and vicious mechanical zombies. Even through the thick walls, the oppressive aura can still be felt. The man strikes a deal with the zombies: if they help him deal with a woman, he will help them escape from the alloy cell. After reaching an agreement, the man uses a helicopter to fire missiles, first destroying the sea platform, then creating a gap in the cell. When the zombie sees the exit, it stretches out its arms, its eyes glowing with an eerie green light. As it breaks through the sea surface, it finally releases years of pent-up fury. Meanwhile, the woman being chased is being auctioned off by human traffickers. When she is about to be sold for $5, a woman offers $10. The auctioneer demands $50, but the woman pulls out a knife and shoots the auctioneer in the head. With more people starting to gather, it turns out that the woman in red and the girl know each other. The girl realizes it's time to fight back. She picks up a gun on the floor and breaks the male lead's handcuffs. Chaos erupts as all the caravans begin to leave. The girl and male lead are unsure which caravan to board when they hear a roar behind them. The mechanical zombie has caught up. The girl immediately grabs the male lead and runs, as she knows how terrifying the zombies are, having been adopted by one when she was a child. They climb onto the caravan, but the zombie follows them, effortlessly leaping onto the platform. The steel guardrails seem as fragile as paper before it. Just as the zombie approaches the girl, a cannon shot knocks it off. It's the woman in red, piloting a flying ship to rescue them. When the girl climbs aboard, the woman in red tries to take off immediately. Luckily, the girl quickly drops a rope, and the male lead grabs it. However, at the last second, the zombie steps on the rope, using its feet to pull the flying ship down. The woman in red throws a knife, instructing the male lead to cut the rope. Without hesitation, the girl throws the knife to the male lead. As the zombie gets closer, the male lead quickly cuts the rope. Just as the zombie begins to analyze how to catch up with the flying ship, it spots a hydrogen airship parked not far away. On the spaceship, Xiaomei finally uncovered the reason why she was hunted by zombies. It goes back to her childhood, a period shrouded by her parents' disputes and the shadow of technology. Her mother once got an ancient ion cannon controller, and her father tried to unify the world by making this weapon. In order to stop her father's ambition, her mother knocked him down and gave the controller chip to Xiaomei. At the moment when her father relaxed his vigilance, her mother was stabbed to death by him. Xiaomei rushed over to try to stop him, but was scratched on the face by her father with a dagger. After escaping from her home, Xiaomei was lost in the wilderness. She was found and rescued by a group of mechanical zombies. One of them, the zombie Shrike, promised to help her revenge and made a small machine for her to reshape her body. Xiaomei's body will be replaced by steel, her nerves will be made of wires, and her mind will be reshaped. From then on, there will be no pain, only freedom. However, the flame of revenge has not been extinguished, and Xiaomei decided to avenge her mother first. After her betrayal, the mechanical zombie Shrike vowed to hunt her down until she died. In order to escape the pursuit, Xiaomei and her companions drove the spaceship to the Sky Castle, and Shrike followed closely and launched a crazy pursuit. As soon as the spaceship arrived at the Sky Castle, there was a sudden power outage in the castle. It turned out that the mechanical zombie Guolao appeared in front of them again, accompanied by dozens of guns firing fiercely, but could not hurt them at all. A brave man tried to attack at close range, but was pressed into the ground by the mechanical zombie. The battle became more and more intense, and the Sky Castle exploded because of this battle. At this time, Xiaomei and her companions were ready for the final battle. In order to stop the mechanical zombies, they decided to take more drastic actions. A time bomb was thrown into the enemy's position, blowing up a huge hole, but the powerful ability of the mechanical zombies allowed them to resume their actions again, and soon approached Xiaomei and Xiaoshui again. At this critical moment, the clever Xiaoshui picked up the stick on the ground and prepared to fight back, but he was grabbed by the neck by the mechanical zombie and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Xiaomei walked forward without hesitation and begged for mercy. In order to protect Xiaoshui, she begged at all costs, and the mechanical zombie finally realized Xiaomei's intentions. The person she loved was saved by her, which instantly collapsed its determination for revenge. The mechanical zombie Shrike knelt on the ground, returned the token that Xiaomei lost when she was a child, and cancelled the promise, and finally fell in Xiaomei's eyes. The Battle of the Sky Castle did not stop. In the last human position in Tibet, all the spaceships, warships, and heavy artillery were mobilized. The Medusa plasma cannon rose over the city of London and fired a fatal blow to the walls of the country. At this critical moment of life and death, the Lord of London ordered that the system suddenly lost power, and the Medusa plasma cannon was locked and started. A beam of light with lightning hit the huge wall, instantly destroying countless spaceships, and the fragments flew in all directions. The defense on the wall collapsed in an instant, and countless civilians died in this disaster. However, the people of London still celebrated their victory, and the mayor seemed unsatisfied and ordered the spacecraft to continue to attack the last line of defense of the Upper Kingdom. However, in the Upper Kingdom, Xiaomei suddenly found that the face of a statue was very similar to her mother. She excitedly took out the necklace from her pocket and found a USB hidden in it. This USB was exactly what her mother insisted on giving her when she was in danger. Xiaomei suddenly realized that this might be the key to turning the situation around. She began to look for allies and proposed a plan, to go to London to shut down the Medusa plasma cannon. Knowing that this task was extremely difficult, she still went there resolutely. As the spacecraft sailed towards London, they encountered fierce enemy firepower. After Xiaomei's spacecraft was discovered, the enemy's searchlight locked their position. But at this moment, the partners fought back hard and almost broke through the siege in the hail of bullets. Suddenly, Xiaomei's spacecraft was hit, and the bearded man bravely crashed into the enemy's main gun to protect everyone, and the time was counted down. In order to buy time, the black girl's spaceship finally sacrificed herself and crashed into the enemy's defense line, winning a life-and-death moment for her partners. The red spaceship took over the task and finally successfully sent Xiaomei to the top of London City. However, with the City Lord's order again, the countdown for the start of the Medusa plasma cannon began. Just as the woman in red and Xiaomei rushed to the control room, the City Lord's men found them. The woman in red had a fierce duel with the City Lord and was seriously injured, while Xiaomei took the opportunity to insert the USB and unlock the password to shut down the system. At the last second before the plasma cannon was about to be fired, Xiaomei successfully shut down the system. The City Lord was furious, pushed the woman in red away, and turned around to escape. But he soon discovered that the energy of London City could not be released, but became extremely unstable. The City Lord frantically ordered the spaceship to start, ready to crash into the walls of the country and destroy the last line of defense in a self-destructive way. Xiaoshui drove the spaceship into the engine compartment of London City without hesitation, and fired a shell to destroy the engine at the moment of impact. The maneuverability of the spaceship helped them successfully escape from the situation that was about to collapse. Finally, Xiaomei found her father and had a final showdown with him. Through an affectionate conversation, Xiaomei finally avenged her mother, and her father died in regret. She personally destroyed the man who had brought her endless pain. At the last moment of London City, the spacecraft destroyed the escape passage of the City Lord, and London City finally hit the wall of the upper country, completely destroying all enemies. Xiaomei and Xiaoshui can finally live the life they expect. Despite the ups and downs, they finally overcome everything and usher in peace and happiness.